The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Robert Saleh gave a puzzling answer when asked about Haason Reddick's holdout and also about Joe Tippmann's issues snapping the football. What do these answers mean? We'll talk about that and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Matt O'Leary's coming on today, so let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season. We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in, everybody. Big shout out to all the Asmaniacs out there. Hit the like button, of course, and if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Trying to get the 40,000 subscribers by the Jets opener, which is now less than just 5 weeks away. Before we bring on today's amazing guest, the great Matt O'Leary, fellow Jet content creator, I do want to share this. For those who are coming to our meetup, which is scheduled for tomorrow night in East Hanover, New Jersey. That's Wednesday night, August 7th, tomorrow night at the wonderful Don Jose Mexican restaurant. I want to make sure everyone knows that even if the Jets practice again, or the Jets practice against themselves tomorrow is postponed or canceled for fans to attend, the meetup will still go on as scheduled tomorrow night in East Hanover. So if you want to join us, a few spots are left. RSVP with the link in the description. The Jets will have a joint practice on Thursday, so we will still be doing our event Wednesday night, even if the Jets decide later today or tomorrow morning to cancel the practice due to the weather in the Florham Park area. I am hearing that it's likely to be canceled, but just know that we will have our event tomorrow night regardless. With that said, let's bring on today's guest. You know him as one of the best Jet content creators out there. He has a brand new studio. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt O'Leary joins us. What's up, Matt?
Not too much, Jake. Thank you so much for having me on today.
So the new studio is awesome. I mean, we got to start there. Do you feel like a new man, homeowner, new studio, season upon us? How we feeling?
I feel fantastic. I wanted to get it. So the big move was the week before training camp because I wanted to be like in and like relatively functional, and then kind of just added things as we went here and finished up. On Saturday, me and my fiance Taylor, we were doing all like the final foam panels and like hiding the wires and neating it up a little bit. And I had a lot of people reach out after the move, and they're like, "We got to see it when it's done." And I was like, "You know what? I'll make a video. Sure, why not?" But I was really pleasantly surprised with how positive the reaction was and how excited the people were. So, yeah, really excited to be doing content from here for the foreseeable future. And bittersweet. It was tough leaving that spot where I was still in college making videos at the time. But it's all for the best here.
Yeah, looks great, man. So you did an awesome job. Congrats on that. Before we get to some of the comments that were made by Robert Saleh on both Haason Reddick's holdout and Joe Tippmann's issues snapping the ball, there's some breaking news to get into. This morning, it became official, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, that the Niners are giving wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk permission to seek a trade. This impacts the Jets twofold. One, the Niners are obviously the week one opponent for the Jets, now less than 5 weeks until that game in the opener. And two, some of the teams that are reportedly interested, one of them is the Patriots, obviously a divisional opponent. Another team is potentially the Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. So all AFC teams, when it comes to the Steelers, the Jets do play Pittsburgh this year. And when it comes to New England, not only do you play them twice a year, but you play them twice a year every year. So what were your thoughts seeing this report come out from Schefter?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the dark horse team, Washington, ends up being where he gets sent. Keep him in the NFC. I think worst case scenario would be him going to the Patriots. Yes, it would stink, because they play the Steelers this year, but not the same division. The Browns are a team that's going to be fighting for a playoff spot, so you're going to be competing with them in the AFC. But I do think that the worst case scenario is New England. And I'm not saying, oh, fold up shop, season's over if they get Brandon Aiyuk, but it's just something that's gonna, be an impact. You play them twice, and getting a legit number one wide receiver for your young quarterback, as we've seen often in the NFL, really helps things. So that would be a really good and big get for New England, and I just would rather not have to deal with him twice a season.
It's interesting, right? Because on one hand, you could say, well, go to New England. They're not going to be any good this year. But down the line, if they hit on Drake May, and we have no idea what he's going to be yet, they could be good. Because then Drake May's on a rookie deal. You could afford to pay Aiyuk number one receiver money. And then he has a guy that he's throwing to long term. So on one hand, like in the short term, maybe going to New England this year is good for the Jets because it makes Cleveland a team that's contending for a playoff spot. It doesn't make them better. Steelers, you actually play them, doesn't make them better. But big picture, I'm with you. I just hope a team in the NFC, as you pointed out, maybe Washington to reunite Aiyuk with his old college quarterback and Jaden Daniels, maybe they emerge. They could get something done. Because I'm not worried about Aiyuk, playing for the Commanders in this joint practice on Thursday, right? You're not worried about that. So, as far as him actually getting traded, though, it does kind of feel like he is going to be dealt. Like once he gets to a point where Schefter is saying, hey, they're giving him permission to seek a trade, it does feel like it's going to happen, which at least in the short term for the Jets week one is great news.
Yeah, that makes life slightly more easier against the 49ers because as we well know, like they are just a deep team loaded with weapons. You have to deal with Christian McCaffrey, arguably the best back in football, George Kittle, one of the best tight ends, and then, at the wide receiver room, Debo and Brandon Aiyuk, and, on and on and on it goes. But taking away that real true number one, Debo's not that at this point in his career anymore. But Aiyuk, with his route running abilities, would have caused some issues, I think. So I agree. I think something happens before the season. I would be very, very surprised if he's dressing on opening night for the 49ers coming out against the Jets.
This to me is different than Trent Williams' situation with the Niners because he's holding out for more money. That seems something that they eventually work out, similar to the Jets and Reddick, which we'll get into. Aiyuk feels like a goner. I'm not thinking that Trent Williams is also not going to play week one, are you?
No, I think, I agree with where you're coming from on that one. I think he eventually gets something done in the coming weeks. That's something that they're sweating right now. Jet fans are sweating the Haason Reddick situation, but I would be really surprised if Trent Williams is not dressing week one.
So as far as Haason Reddick goes, man, I want to play you some sound here from Robert Saleh. This was Saleh yesterday on if Haason Reddick needs a training camp to be an effective player.
I don't know, because there's examples of players who, like Aaron Donald, Chris Jones a couple of years ago didn't show up till week one, and they did just fine. So, when you get to that stage in your career, I don't have the right answer for you on that one.
For you as a coaching staff, not having that hands-on time with him, will that make it harder if it does linger on to kind of prepare for week one? And how do you accept that challenge or manage that challenge?
We always, there's players come and go all the time in our, unfortunately, you're always having to make adjustments on the fly, but I'll say it again, it's not the easiest position, but the last position that I'm worried about getting caught up to speed.
What do you make of those comments there from Saleh? I know it's different for every player, but at the same time, I fear not him being effective. I fear him, being rushed coming into training camp. He's maybe not in the best shape or the best football shape you need to be in, and he pulls a hamstring or something, and then all of a sudden he's out, 4 to 6 weeks, and that's a major problem for this defense.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think he's maybe a little bit more optimistic on the edge room than I am without Haason Reddick, because I think if you're missing Haason suddenly, as we saw by the unofficial depth chart, Michael Clemens is a starter for you. Because Will McDonald, do they still have an issue with where he is weight-wise, which I don't quite understand, but that's probably a topic for another day here. But on the Haason Reddick situation, every player is different, but it was almost an awkward answer, I thought, from Saleh. And part of me does feel bad that he has to be the one answering the questions because those questions really should be for Joe Douglas. But it just feels like he doesn't have any answers and he's just running out of things to say up there on Haason Reddick.
He also said yesterday that he doesn't have a update on Reddick. We're now 2 weeks in to to the start of training camp. And I think when they asked Saleh, hey, are you surprised that we're here with a player you guys acquired, that he's still holding out? And Saleh, I think, was going to say yes, but then he was like, well, there's no good in me, answering that question. He said something along those lines. I'm thinking they definitely thought this would be done by now. At least the coaching staff did. At least Saleh did.
Well, he said that himself back in minicamp that he expected him to report for training camp. So I think in his mind, something was either one going to get done or Haason Reddick would kind of come to his senses and report. But neither of those things has happened yet. Both sides feel like they're playing chicken, waiting for the other one to bow out and either, pay Reddick or just, fold and come in and report. But I don't know what the end result is here, but I'm really hoping that something happens sooner rather than later, because yes, you had Chris Jones show up in week 1 and everything worked out. They won the Super Bowl, but I feel like that's kind of an outlier. I think coming in and like having a handful of days to get yourself ready, not ideal. Revis, I believe in 2010 signed the week before the first game of the season. So that feels like the absolute latest for me, but the earlier the better. It's, quote Yogi Berra, it's getting late early around here, but the sooner they can get this done, the better.
And I guess the difference with Revis is Revis had already established himself with the Jets coming off that 2009 season where he was robbed, in my opinion, of the defensive player of the year. And the Jets had already established themselves as a contending team because they went to the championship game the previous year with a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback. This team, while talented, maybe the most talented team they've had since that 2010 team, they don't have that pedigree. Rodgers does. C.J. Mosley does. There's some good players who have played in some big games before, but the vast majority of this team, they haven't won anything, right? And this coaching staff hasn't won a damn thing. So to me, it's like you don't want to get to a point where it becomes a distraction if we're a week away from the opener and he's still not there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little different when the Chiefs at the time were the defending champions, and then they end up going and going back to back there. The Jets don't get that luxury. They don't get the benefit of the doubt from the media. If anything, people are harder on the Jets, it feels like, than some of these other teams because of all their struggles. This is something that I feel needs to get done well before the start of the regular season.
Here was the full quote from Saleh. He goes, I guess it doesn't matter what I thought at the time. The reality is he's not here, but there are, like I said, there are a bunch of guys who are working their tails off. Will McDonald, like I said, is getting a lot of reps that he otherwise wouldn't have got. And for it, he's been improving every day. I know he has to say that about Will McDonald, but I need to see a big step from Will McDonald in the preseason because I do think he's going to be one of the few quote-unquote quasi-starters, even though I guess Clemens is technically listed in front of him right now. We know McDonald's going to play a lot more. I need to see Will McDonald take advantage of all these lack of Reddick reps and do some stuff in the preseason.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well. I know in practice yesterday, he had a really good rep that probably would have been a sack on Aaron Rodgers if he was able to hit the quarterback. And I thought he looked good in the preseason last year, number one, and also in a limited role, only playing 19% of snaps last season. I thought he was pretty good in pass rushing situations. So I think if you're able to get him on the field, maybe 45% of snaps and getting it in third and long situations, I think he could rack up some sacks this year and kind of playing that, not last year's version of the Bryce Huff role, but from like 21 to 2022 version of Bryce Huff, where he's kind of just put in there in obvious passing situations and kind of just letting him loose.
What's your take on when it eventually does get solved? Do you think we're nearing the end of this, or is this going to drag on for several more weeks?
I think we get through this first preseason game and it's still a story and they're talking about it on the broadcast. And then at some point before the preseason games end, he will sign, maybe before the final Giants game.
Costing himself a lot of money, man. It really is surprising to me.
Yeah, it racks up quick, right? Like every day I feel like we get the updates, but it is a lot of money. I guess he's betting on him, himself that they're going to eventually pay him, but that's a lot of money coming out of his pockets.
No doubt. If you're watching live right now, there's 250 of you. Please hit the like button. There's only 70 likes, so the math is not mathing. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. And if you're not subscribed to Matt's channel, at Matt O'Leary NY, check it out on YouTube. Check it out on social media as well. We'll get to the comments that Saleh made about Joe Tippmann. But first, let's pause because Addison is dropping a 5 spot. He did this before the show even started.
Now, give me money. Or I shoot him. and I shoot all you motherfuckers, and then we take it. Your choice, bitches.
Yeah, baby. Here we go. Axios, MM Rocketeer, Carlos Santos, Joe Baxter, Justin Heath. Whoever makes it rain today, you're going to get some new production with your video drop. So shout out to Gator for doing his thing with that one. Congrats to all the new members. Thank you to Addison again for paying it forward right there. All right, let's get to Joe Tippmann. I have some audio here from Robert Saleh. This is from the press conference following the joint practice, or not joint practice, the green and white scrimmage, I should say, on Saturday, Matt. I was there. The opening drive, the offense going right down the field. Rodgers looks good, making plays to his tight ends, making plays to Garrett Wilson, making plays to Allen Lazard. And then as the Jets are driving, high snap from Joe Tippmann completely kills the drive. The Jets have to settle for a field goal. So Saleh was asked about that and also a follow-up on what exactly the issue is with Tippmann.
Oh, we got to continue working with it. He had a couple of good days, and then today with the environment a little bit heightened, it got away from him, and so we'll continue working with him.
What do you think? Is it a technical thing that's bugging right now? Is it a mental thing?
Yeah, it's going to be there's some technical stuff in there. It's not mental. He's not flustered. It's like I said, we're trying to maximize his athleticism, which is asking him to do some things that. From an athletic standpoint, we're pushing him, and he's just got to learn the timing and the rhythm and all that stuff, and he'll get it under control. It's one of the least things I'm worried about.
One of the least things he's worried about. Your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, not I don't agree with that. Now, I'm not going to be like in a full panic that this is going to derail the season and that Joe Tippmann's this horrific bust, but I do think it's something that needs to be addressed and fixed before the start of the regular season here. They feel a little too laxed with it for me. Again, I think it's something that they can get right here, but it was an issue last year. Like, I know Nathaniel Hackett had a quote where he's like, "Oh, it's never been a problem." Well, I can remember a few times last year where the snaps weren't great. So that I thought was wrong. They feel overconfident for me. And again, I like Joe Tippmann. I'm not saying bench him or move him off the center spot, but it is something that they have to get right because they can't have this in the regular season.
There have been some people that have said, "Oh, just play him at guard." You really can't unless there's an injury or something, because Simpson is clearly the established left guard. You signed him in free agency for that role. And at right guard, AVT is one of the better guards in the league when he's out there healthy, which he is right now, playing his natural position. So Tippmann's kind of pigeonholed to being the center. So I'm not worried yet, but they got to get this fixed because this could be the difference in whether or not, you're a wild card team versus a division winner, or you make the playoffs or not. Like, one bad snap in a crucial moment in the game could be the reason why you lose. So this has to be cleaned up. I'm not worried yet. I trust Aaron Rodgers and Joe Tippmann will get on the same page. I know Rodgers is a huge, huge fan of Tippmann, but they have to get it corrected because it could be something that does lead to losses in an actual game.
Yeah, and without a doubt, God forbid, like, you're in a situation in the green and white scrimmage, you're driving down the field trying to get points, and then you knocked out a field goal range or whatever the case. You have to punt instead of getting points there. It's the little things like that matter when you're going to be competitive. It's kind of like when the Jets did not have a kicker when they were just horrific, and it was everything that was on their that was very low on the pecking order of concerns because of just how bad the rest of the roster was. But I remember just saying throughout that whole time, like, when you are good, special teams and little things like that matters when you're trying to win games. And this is a perfect example of it. If your center once a game is snapping it 10 yards over the quarterback's head, that's not a good recipe for success.
I got to try and get Nick Mangold back on the show and get his thoughts on what the issue could potentially be here. Because it was interesting to hear Saleh say, we're asking him to do more athletically this year to play to his strengths, and that's potentially leading to some of these issues with snapping the ball.
Yeah, so I think I saw a video somewhere on Twitter. I believe it was Michael Nania tweeted the video, and it was some coach talking about why snaps could be high, and if the center raises their butt too early, like trying to get out of their stance too quickly, that causes the snap to sail. So that maybe that could be an issue.
If you're watching live right now, Gustbuster hotline is open if you want in on the conversation. I said we have the Lane Train in the audience right now watching the show. I'm going to get to his question first because, to me, it is a very, very good one. He wants to know, did anyone pick up Knoble? Well, Lane, I feel like you should ask yourself that question. You're the guy who knows everything there is to know about Knoble. Also from Lane Train, Matt, he says, look, the Jets have to keep on playing Aaron Rodgers. Your thoughts on the quarterback battle, Matt? Do you think Aaron Rodgers has the leg up over Tyrod Taylor, Andrew Peasley, Adrian Martinez, and Jordan Travis, who still is like running around on one leg?
Yeah, that was one of the bigger surprises, I thought, from the Jets' unofficial depth chart, is that they already kind of had Aaron Rodgers as the first quarterback. Thought, maybe they do one of those things where it's like Rodgers / Tyrod. They don't want to give it away yet before the first preseason game, but love that.
Lane Train, we love it. Couple super chats here, and then we'll start to get into some of your calls. Asman checks in with his member super chat. 11 months of being an Asmaniac on YouTube. Thank you so much, Asman. Appreciate you. Hey, Matto. In what order was the new house set up? I have a feeling the new studio was very high on the list. # commitment.
Yeah, it was very high on the list. After we moved everything, it was the Saturday before training camp began. And after, like, we got everything in, and my fiance Taylor and her mom are like unpacking all the clothes, and me and my sister, who's also very good tech wise, thank God, we were in here like getting the camera right, trying to do the lighting and stuff like that. And it wasn't perfect. Like I said, it took me a couple weeks to get everything up to speed, but we were functional for later that day, which was really impressive, I thought.
It's so funny. When I moved into my apartment, like the first things I did, get the TVs on the wall. I got like the 3 TV set up so I could watch games and keep track of everything. And then I had to get the desk set up so I had a place to put the camera, the laptop, get the lighting stuff. I mean, that's what we do, baby.
Yeah, the very few things that were before that, like we got central air put in the house first, and then obviously internet and all that came in. So very, very quickly, I think we had my setup before the washer and dryer was installed. So there you go. That tells you a priority list.
Dan with a super chat. Off topic, congrats to Captain Brunson.
Love that. I'm not really a big basketball guy, but I was going to say, I think he might be the most beloved athlete in New York right now. I think
he is.
Particularly close either.
I think it's him, and then I think Judge is too, but there's a lot of Met fans, so it's not as united as the Knick fan base is, because with all due respect to the Net fans out there, we're talking about 90% of the tri-state area being Knick fans. I think that's fair. So 100%. Congrats to Brunson. For those who don't know what Dan's referring to, the Knicks named him captain of the team, their 36th captain in franchise history earlier today. Mike the Stat Guy with a super chat. 2024, Wilson, Aiyuk, Williams, Lazard, Corley. 2025, Wilson, Aiyuk, Adams, Corley. Pay the 22 class in 2026. Go win 2 Super Bowls. Mike, I love the passion. This will never happen, but I appreciate your super chat.
Yeah, I love the optimism. That would be so much fun if that's what the offense actually looked like. Unfortunately, I'm with Jake here. I don't think that one could happen.
They can't. First off, they're not going to bring in Aiyuk and then pay him, which you would have to do if you're bringing them in, because this is not Haason Reddick again, where you're going to bring in a guy and then not have a new contract. And then you're not also then going to add Devontae Adams and his money. Well, you have to then go pay your draft class coming up. Like, you're not going to wait till 2026. Then Sauce is going to hold out. Garrett's going to hold out. You're going to have issues all over your team. Like, there's fantasy football, and then there's reality. Do I think they could end up with Devontae? Yeah, I think it's realistic to expect the Jets to be in on Devontae if the Raiders fall out of it closer to the deadline. But Aiyuk and then Devontae, not going to happen.
No. Well, and Aiyuk, I don't even think is really all that realistic, because, again, like you kind of said, you have to pay him. Where with Devontae Adams, he's already on a contract that could get reworked. So I feel like that one's a little bit more realistic if the Raiders do fall out of it by the trade deadline.
Yep, no doubt about that. Proud NYJ, our guy Nick Shine checks in. Elite duo, loving the show. Let's go Jets. Nick, all the best to you, my man. Make sure everyone subscribes to Nick's channel. He joined me yesterday afternoon. He gained a bunch of subs, trying to get Nick to $1,000 so we can start making some cash money talking about our beloved football team. More super chats for Matt and I to answer. Keep submitting those. Gustbuster hotline is open if you want to call in. Lawrence checks in with an Asmaniac super chat. We should have a Jets meetup at Knoble's Amusement Resort in Pennsylvania. Well, we got to bring Green Bean because he knows everything there is to know about amusement parks.
So fun fact, when he came to the Jets draft party at the main event in Farmingdale, he was all excited about this roller coaster at Adventureland. He's like, there's only like 3 of them in the world. And for someone, if you're from Long Island, like Adventureland, I feel like that's the thing you go to when you don't want to make like the full trip to Six Flags. Why? It's like I would have never known that there was anything special about Adventureland.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to Adventureland my whole life as a kid growing up. It was right by my dad's office where Gustbuster used to be before they moved locations. Adventureland's the best. Also in Farmingdale, the Fun Zone as well.
Oh, the commercial. You remember the commercials for the Fun Zone?
Do I remember?
Come on, an absolute classic. If you know, you know.
Well said. This is peak Long Island commentary between us right now. Hit the like button if you're tuning in, even if you're not from Long Island. This question, more of a statement from JJ. When can we admit, or actually he's just saying we can admit already, we can admit Joe Douglas failed with the Will McDonald pick and the release of Bryce Huff. He tried to make things right with Reddick, and so far, no good. I mean, were you saying this about Jermaine Johnson a year ago, right? Like, and then you saw what he did in year two. Could we, I don't know, maybe judge the draft pick when we actually see some regular season games where he's going to play in, what'd you say, it was 19% of the snaps last year? Maybe a lot more this year?
Yeah, hopefully it's a lot more this year. Look, I wasn't a fan of the Will McDonald pick at the time, but I also think the narrative surrounding Will McDonald isn't fair on him because it's not like he chose himself to go play for the Jets. The Jets, drafted him 15th overall, and it was a surprise pick. But if anything, the thing that I think you could be critical about the Jets with Will McDonald is that they might be trying to change him, because I keep hearing like they have issues with the weight with him playing at 235 and he wanted to be at, or the Jets wanted him to be at 250. Like, this guy's, you drafted a 24-year-old bendy edge rusher, like leave him alone and just put him out there on the field on third downs and let him go get sacks. I don't know why we have to complicate things.
Yeah. I mean, look, put him in the Bryce Huff role. To me, like, all right, you want him to do more? Great. Maybe one day he will. Trying to win this year, closing out games. Imagine a NASCAR package with McDonald, Jermaine, Quinnen, and Reddick all on the field together.
Yeah, sign me up for that. That's going to be very, very tough for any opposing offensive line.
Also, we can't say Douglas failed with the Huff stuff yet until we see how Reddick plays this year. It's not just about McDonald. If Haason Reddick eventually signs, which I still think he's going to, I don't think he's missing regular season games, and goes out there and has a really good year, right? Does what he normally does, which for the last 4 years, he's had at least 10 or more sacks. No Jet has ever done that. So let's not poo-poo how good of a player Haason Reddick is and still is.
Right, and I think that also is one that I don't get, where you have a lot of Jet fans who are just like, trade him, get rid of him, and like, I think we're discrediting, one, as you said, how good he is, and two, like, what would the plan be after that? This is a defense.
Michael Clemens, really? Come on.
I don't want to live in a world where Michael Clemens is playing really more than like 35 or 40% of snaps, and that's all due respect to him. But I think we are discrediting how much the Jets need the pass rush help in this one as well after losing Bryce Huff and JFM.
Keep the super chats flowing. Ryan Condor with a super chat. Thank you, Ryan. Tippmann is from the Badgers before the new coaching regime. That's why Allen's stats look subpar 2023. Badgers didn't use shotgun formation much before 2022. But even still, he snapped last year, and it's not like it was constantly a problem. I can remember maybe some snaps here or there that were high, but it's not like we were worried every time Joe Tippmann was snapping the ball that he was Spencer Long reincarnated.
Yeah, it was something that came up, but it wasn't as consistently happening, I guess, as it is right now, is the way that I would put it. But it's fair to point out from Ryan here that they didn't run a ton of shotgun, because it's the truth, they're more of a power offense. But I mean, you should be able to snap the football as a professional center here.
Brian Morales with a super chat. He writes in, my guys, I'll do anything for a home playoff game with the whole Jets Nation going crazy at Jet Life. Cold weather, awesome tailgates. See you there. That, to me, Brian, is the biggest goal for the regular season. Obviously, you want to be a playoff team. You have to be a winning team. We all understand that. But this team is equipped to win the division. If not now, then when? They had not done it since 2002. They have, to me, the most talented team in the division. Buffalo has not gotten better. The Dolphins, to me, have not gotten better from the moves they've made this offseason. The Jets, if they had done nothing, Matt, besides just, hey, Aaron's back healthy, they're better than the 7-win team they were last year. And I think they made a lot of shrewd moves in addition to Aaron's return at backup quarterback, the O-line revamped, Mike Williams, Reddick. Like, this team has to get it done this year and win the division, because not saying they can't go on a run as a wild card team, but it's so much easier if you set yourself up with that first game being at home to get the playoffs underway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have the roster and the talent to lead the division and win the division first time since 2002. I mean, I always claim 2003 as the first year I really remember and knew what was going on. So I've been watching Jet football a long time, but I don't really remember the last Jets home playoff game. So it would be nice to be there at MetLife Stadium, the place going absolutely nuts. But it's time. Brian's right. Absolutely, they have to win this division. It's there for the taking. Take advantage.
Mike, the stat guy, writes in: Miami pays Tua, Waddle, Hill, $110 million a year. Rodgers, Wilson, Aiyuk, Adams would be around $90 million in 2025. Money of the 2022 class would hit in 2026. It's just not realistic, though, because there's other guys you have to pay around some of the players you mentioned from the 2022 class, right? You're going to have to redo eventually the contracts of AVT. Quincy Williams would be up after that year. You got to pay him. He's a young ascending player. You still need to have money to fill out your cornerback next to Sauce Gardner. You still need to have money to fill out your offensive line. Like, there's just so many things you got to do before you would pay both Aiyuk, Adams, and Garrett Wilson. The Dolphins are paying 2 big-time wide receivers. Find me the team that pays 3 big-time wide receivers.
Yeah, and that's just the thing, right? Is they don't have that third other wide receiver that would have to get paid in this scenario. Like, they're paying Odell right now, but that's not anywhere where Garrett Wilson would be making, or whoever you would classify as the wide receiver 3 in that scenario. They're also not paying big money to a running back. You'd assume that, Breece Hall would get a contract and get paid here. A couple edge rusher. It's tough. I would love it. I think it'd be a lot of fun if, Wilson, Aiyuk, and Adams were catching passes for this team over the next couple of years, but I don't think it's realistic, Jake.
Dan with a super chat. Speaking of amusement spots, RIP Sports Plus.
I don't think I've ever been to Sports Plus.
Yeah, I don't know where that is, Dan. Is that a Long Island joint? Probably not if Matt and I haven't heard of it. I don't know where Sports Plus is. Someone knows in the chat. Please throw it in. Let's open up the Gustbuster hotline right now. Our calls, of course, presented by the #1 umbrella in the universe. And folks, look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but over the next couple days, it gonna rain.
If you go to Gustbuster.com, you could purchase the best umbrella in the universe. And you could use the promo code Jake, so you'll get 15% off on any of your umbrellas.
Here we go, folks. Gustbuster hotline is open, and joining us right now is someone who typically doesn't need an introduction. But as of yesterday, he now has one.
B-Mac, look at my TV. B-Mac, I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets, go Jets.
Ladies and gentlemen, B-Mac. Ladies and gentlemen, B-Mac's Internet.
Hey guys, great to see you. Again, love the intro. I love it. Shout out to Gato, you the GOAT. And you should get into a production business, man, and because you too much talented, man. Too much talented. So yeah. Hey Jake, hey Matt.
How's it going, B-Mac?
Doing good. I do want to call in the Jets wide receiver group is a little bit banged up. I guess I kind of heard. I guess a couple of people went down today. I know Brownie and Gibson are banged up. Does that concern y'all? And if somehow if they keep like getting injuries, you maybe.
B-Mac, hey you hater guy, Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Oh, B-Mac, love you. Your internet trash or your headphones using the wired headphones like it's 2009. Do me a favor, call back without the headphones next time. Just use your regular audio from the Mac in the StreamYard or your computer, and it probably will work a lot better. As far as this question he was alluding to about the receiver situation, I think they're a receiver short right now until Mike Williams proves he's healthy, he's back out there playing at a high level. Can they get by initially? Probably, because the schedule's not overwhelmingly difficult after week 1, but I do think if there's an area of concern with the offense, it's the depth at receiver next to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's totally fair, because I think there's, as you mentioned, question marks with the health of Mike Williams. How far along is Malachi Corley? But relatively good news. Jason Brownlee was banged up, but came back in the practice yesterday. And supposedly Xavier Gibson is dressed today. So I would imagine that he is returning as well.
That's great. And Gibson, by the way, those thinking, oh, is he in danger of losing his job? According to the first depth chart, which is unofficial, I get it. He's still listed as the starting kick returner, punt returner, and slot receiver. And I still think he's going to have a role on this team. Maybe eventually Corley takes over, gets more of the playing time there. But I think initially Xavier Gibson's going to be out there with his offense.
Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the first few weeks he's technically the starting slot. But as the year goes on, I do think we see that transition. And it becomes a little bit more even with Malachi Corley and Xavier Gibson.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We're seeking channel members. We're cooking up a new emoji. It is ready to roll. Stay tuned to find out what exactly it might be. A lot of callers still on the line. But, folks, when this guy calls in, you stop whatever you're doing and you get to your computer, your mobile phone, your television, however you consume the phone, and you sit back and enjoy.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
The Lane Train.
Okay. Hi.
Hey, Lane.
What's up?
Good morning also.
Good morning.
Matt. So anyway, how do you feel about Milaka McCauley for the Jets?
Who?
Milaka McCauley.
Matt, how do you feel about Mila Coley?
Yeah.
I think good. I think I feel confident about him going into the season. If we're Malachi Corley, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a weapon for the New York Jets. Get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing yards after the catch. I think that's the recipe for success with him.
So, how many plays do you think the Jets want Aaron Rodgers to play in the first half
of the regular season or the preseason?
For the preseason.
I think it might be 0, Lane. I think it's going to depend on how many Aaron wants to play himself.
Yeah, at the most, I think 2 drives against the Giants is as far as I would go.
Then you start the regular season. You're going to probably have him play a lot going into the regular season.
I hope so. Matt, I hope he plays the whole game.
I do as well. I would like to see Aaron Rodgers play from start to finish, not just 4 plays, and then also do that again 16 times after.
I realize that he has to play better.
Well, he has to play. He didn't play a lot last year.
Yeah, I know he got injured in the first week of the season.
How about the 4th play of the season?
Yeah.
Wasn't fun, Lane.
Happy. Yeah, I know. All right, thank you.
Lane, thank you.
You're welcome. Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
Great call from Lane there, Matt.
He's one of one. Lane is one of one.
The Lane Train, man. I mean, take after take, you sit back and go, yup, that's why he's a GOAT. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of GOATs, we've had like a who's who of people coming on this morning. I think it's the Nat O'Leary effect. Everyone wants to talk to one of the all-time great content creators, regardless of sport, including this guy.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he's not on the toilet.
What's up?
Oh, God.
He's back with musical influence. What are you playing for us today?
I was just practicing while I was waiting for you guys.
What are you playing?
I'm not. Fine. Are we done? Sorry, I think it might be a bit out of tune. I haven't tuned it in a while. It's like I haven't tuned this thing in a while. Oh,
are you ready to play the halftime show at T Squared Social on August 17th?
I'm still not doing that. I don't like playing in public space. I'm too nervous to play in public spaces. Okay.
I was there last night. The GM came up to me. He's like, "We have a stage set up for V-Man."
All right, just please, you gotta respect my personal decision.
Okay, I respect it.
Yeah, no, but then you're probably wondering why is. I don't think you've seen this thing before.
No.
It's okay. So I'll just put it down. It's the traditional Puerto Rican instrument, the cuatro, and it's called cuatro when it has 10 strings. That's a story for another day. But let's get back to we'll talk about the Aiyuk situation.
Are you 100% Puerto Rican?
No. Every time I try to change it, they change it back. It's on my mother's side, and then my father's a Spanish Italian who was raised in Caracas, Venezuela.
Okay, because I was just wondering because of the thing under your name. It says
I know. If I try to change it back, they'll just change it. Jake will change it back. Okay, but let's get to the Aiyuk situation. About honestly, because I have a feeling that he's gonna end up going to an AFC team, whether we like it or not. Because let's be honest, it's not in the best interest of the 49ers to give him away to an NFC team unless they just blow him away with a deal. So if any AFC team, it's either going to be the team you want is the Steelers or the Browns. And honestly, part of me is like, and both of them have their, part of me feels like I'd rather see them go to the Steelers given their tendencies to just, given their recent history and how they constantly underperform. And like their tendency to play down to competition that they don't respect. Like if the coach doesn't respect you, like remember what happened like a few years back? We like went to Pittsburgh and we beat them because like they didn't look like they treated us with any real respect in that game.
They also weren't very good. They started Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett came in off the bench.
True, but true. If you actually go like look up the clips before that game, like the week leading up to that game, the comments from the Steelers is like they still treated the Jets as if they didn't give the Jets any real respect.
Yeah, because they started a quarterback in Zach Wilson, who, as we now know, wasn't any good. Although, to his credit, he did play well in the fourth quarter of that game.
He did.
Which gave us
give to his credit. So, like I said, that's the team because honestly, like I said, I honestly think the Browns are better put together right now than the Steelers are.
I think they're a better team. I mean, they have a better roster to this point. I think there's questions with both teams' quarterback situations, but I think the Browns are better.
I think the Browns. Also, obviously, I think their offensive staff is clearly better because I do not. I mean, do you really trust Arthur Smith on offense?
V-Man, I would much rather Aiyuk go to Pittsburgh than Cleveland, if that's what you're asking me. Because I think
I feel like because obviously, obviously we're gonna do our pecking order list. It's Pittsburgh, Cleveland, then at the bottom is the Patriots because you do not want him in division.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing him gone from that first game is gonna makes you feel like you breathe slightly better looking at that matchup.
B-Man, thank you for enlightening us on music, musical instruments, your Puerto Rican heritage, and Brandon Aiyuk.
All right, talk to you later.
That's the end of this V-Man call. Time for him to get back to pooping.
Ladies and gentlemen, V-Man, what a back-to-back that was.
Yeah, incredible. I don't know how you beat it.
Wow. The only thing I could do to tell you how we could beat that is by letting everyone know that on Friday, we have our summer drop coming to the Jake Asman merch store. Patreon members get 15% off every item you see on the screen and every item in the merch store. We're dropping for the first time ever shorts and slides, a doggy bandana. We're also going to be dropping flip-flops. So we're going to get you some summer gear before the summer wraps up. Still got a full month to enjoy the nice weather. Also, for the 4% female demographic, guess what? A full-on 4% clothing line of Asmaniac and Jake Asman Show logoed merch will be available in female sizes. We also have new hoodies with the black alternate logo on both T-shirts and, as I said, hoodies in the store. JakeAsman.com to get your merch. Big thank you to everyone who has supported the show, the channel, by purchasing your merch. Once again, join the Patreon if you want 15% off on everything. It's worth it because if you plan on buying merch, you'll save more than $5, which is all it costs to join Patreon. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. We continue the conversation with Matt O'Leary right now. comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. R&R writes in, Saleh needs to stop knocking wood at the podium. He does it all the time. I don't know what that means, knocking wood.
I don't know. That one's over my head as well. I don't know what R&R is saying here.
Let me go back to the clip I played and see if he's actually like hitting the wood. Hold on.
Oh, Tim, we got to continue working with it. He had a couple of good days, and then today with the environment a little bit heightened, it got away from him, and so we'll continue working with him.
What do you think? Is it a technical thing that's bugging right now? Is it a mental thing?
Yeah, it's going to be there's some technical stuff in there. It's not mental. He's not flustered. It's like I said, we're trying to maximize his.
I got no idea.
Maybe he was tapping it on the side. I not sure, but it clearly bothered R&R.
I'll say this is probably the least of my concerns with the head coach.
Yes, very far down on the pecking order, like Joe Tippmann snaps.
According to the head coach, very far down for him. Doug writes in, my two favorite Jet YouTubers. Love the new setup, Matt. Doug on the couch. You haven't called in months. Where you been, Doug?
He got a job, no?
I'm hoping.
I think so. Doug, we appreciate you. An OG.
Thank you, Doug. Here. Thank you, Doug. Keep the super chats flowing. More of your calls right now, ladies and gentlemen. Dear God, Weed the People is on the line. Hello, Weed.
What up, man? How you doing?
Is that Nick Shine behind you?
Yeah, he's modeling the Bobby chair.
Let me see this. Oh, my God.
It's unreal.
Just enjoying a day at the beach, you know?
Yeah.
Just doing his thing.
What happened to Gertrude? Did you let her out of the house?
They're at the water park today.
Really?
Yeah, I'm giving them a water park day.
I think it's going to rain today.
Yeah, no, they're going to be pissed. Oh, man. So, how you doing today, Jake? I finally called you early in the morning.
I'm good, Weed. What's on your mind besides weed?
Weed and just so close to the season starting, dude. I just wanted to start. I can't wait for a preseason game. I'm just excited for that. As long as I can see the Jets on the field, I'm a happy guy.
You're going to be locked in at noon on Saturday. How about that? A noon kickoff for a Jet game.
Yeah, that's so early. Terrible. I usually work nights and stuff like that, so I don't usually get early morning things. But I'll be there. I'll be up to watch it. Of course, it's Jets.
You know, noon is not early morning, right?
Sure, it is.
Maybe for you.
Yeah, a little bit.
What brings you up so early today, then?
I have not been to sleep yet. I've been up cleaning the fucking house all fucking night, Jake.
Weed.
I've been getting baked and cleaning up the house.
I'm not sure if that's the best strategy. I feel like it might limit your productivity.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Thank you for the time. Excellent job out of you.
Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, this is an all-time show shaping up so far. We got about 12 minutes left with Matt. So if you have a question for him or want to get on the line with him, make sure you call in. Click that link that's pinned to join the Gustbuster hotline. Devin, our guy DNY for life, gifting a channel membership, and it went to Kai Wei, Kaiwei, the recipient of the membership. We have added 6 memberships so far during today's show. Thank you to everyone for your support there. This one is from Pittsburgh Mike. He wants to know, is there a world where Reddick could hold out regular season games? Understand he'd forfeit game checks, but this whole situation doesn't feel like it will get resolved. I still think it's going to get resolved. I know it feels like nothing's happening now, but eventually one of the sides will blink and something gets done.
Yeah, can he really afford to sit out games in his age 30 season? Like,
you can't Le'Veon Bell this. Yeah,
that's what I was just gonna go and say, that like the Le'Veon, it didn't work out for Le'Veon, number one, but Lev was also like 4 or 5 years younger than what Reddick is now. So I would be shocked if he's sitting out multiple regular season games.
I would too. I don't know. I don't see it. I still think, even though it's annoying and this fan base is, and rightfully so, frustrated, right? Here's a guy who's never played for you, demanding more money when the rumor is they did offer him more money and he said no. Like, I get why the fan base is frustrated, but once again, I don't think it ends up with him missing time. I will say this. You also have to think about the optics of just caving and paying him a monster deal, because Tyler Conklin's on the last year of his deal. He could want a new deal. Michael Carter's on the last year of his deal. He could want a new deal. These guys have shown up and have been good soldiers. you set a bad precedent if you just cave and give Reddick whatever he wants because you got to pay Sauce next year, got to pay Garrett. There's a way to do your business to try and have an acceptable business practice that you don't want to deviate from.
You're 100% right. It also feels like there's got to be a way that they could somehow meet in the middle on this, right? Like it feels like both sides are being very stubborn with it, and I'm just hoping that at some point within the next maybe 2 weeks or so that they finally sit down. He shows up, they negotiate, they get it done. Why not like a hold in, right? Be like, I'm not going to practice until I get a new deal, but just show up at the building.
Now, yeah, 100%. Now, I obviously we're focused on this season. No one even wants to like think about next offseason, think about what the Jets are going to do in the draft. But since the Lane Train did introduce a new player earlier, Matt, your thoughts on potentially taking Mila Kakoli in the draft this season?
I think it would be a wise pick. Look at that face. That you do not want to be going up against. To me, that screams interior defensive lineman. I think you need someone long term next to Quinnen. Get him up there.
Man, what a prospect. Good job by the Lane Train. He's done it again. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerome the Packer fan is on the line with some new headgear. What's up, Jerome?
What's going on to all the ass maniacs? What's going on, fellas? How you doing, Matt?
Good, Jerome.
Show up
y'all
that
all
head,
right?
Jerome. Let's see it. Yeah,
Yes,
there it
indeed.
is.
Yes, indeed. I got it yesterday. I received it yesterday. Man. And on this hot take with Haason Reddick, I expressed concern earlier. It wasn't at first, but we're getting close to the season. We need him in football shape because of his age. We kind of need him to be in football shape so he can have continuity with the team. We want to try to come out smoking and piping hot. We're playing the 49ers. We need everybody. We need all hands on deck and everybody in gang ready football shape so we can get this first W on route to this 14-3 that I'm always telling y'all gonna be.
Sign me up, Jerome. Sign me up.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Matt. I follow you guys too, but most of the time I'm talking with Richie, Boy Green, and Jake, and I've always been on this crusade as a Packer fan to give you guys all the confidence in what you guys have with Aaron Rodgers, because we've been so spoiled all these years. Rodgers is a quarterback that you can count on to get you in the playoffs. It's time he's willed the Packers to the playoffs without a good defense. And so you guys have a maestro back there, somebody that's real cerebral with that ball, that's not going to give up that ball. It's going to understand how to have you guys in good situations and understand situational football. So he mitigates a lot of things with Saleh and with his questionable decision making or whatever, and even Hackett. So you guys, I expect y'all to do good this year. Y'all got a favorable schedule, and Jet fans get to see competent quarterback play, and y'all are gonna be wild. It's gonna be a lot of wild moments, and it's like I'm gonna be there with you guys for the ride because I'm coming up there for a couple of games, and I just want to see Jet fans come out of futility with this futility of losing. You guys, every year as a Packer fan, we expected to be 13-3, 12-4, things along those nature. And Rodgers, y'all can't be no worse than 10-7, and that's just on the low end. So I expect you guys to be 14-3 looking at your schedule.
I love it.
There's not a team you can't beat on that team. Yeah.
Sign us up, Jerome. But I mean, it's the best. The Packers fans are so optimistic, and they're like, "You Jet fans, I don't get it." It's like, well, you saw what happened last year. We were all excited. We tried to be optimistic, but we had Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays.
I don't know what I would be like if the Jets were 14-3. What do you think these shows would be like every week?
Oh my God. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do shows. It would just be people just donating super chats and memberships. Everyone would just be so happy the whole time. Wouldn't even need to say anything.
Yeah, exactly. My brain can't even. I would be excited about like an 11-6 season.
Yeah,
so like my brain can't even comprehend like a 14 or 15 win season.
Dude, like, I mean, just couple of years ago, the bar was set so low that when they were like 6-3 and 7-4, they were alive going into January before on New Year's Day against the Seahawks. Like that felt like a win despite how crazy everything had been. Like that's how far the bar was just lowered.
Exactly. But it's going to be, I agree. I think it's going to be a fun season. I love the optimism from our guy, Jerome.
Love it. Jerome, tremendous job by you. Let's see. This one is from Matt from L5, who says one of the best part of the preseason is seeing the future. Do you think we could see Jordan Travis, or will he not be cleared? Doesn't sound like he's being cleared anytime soon, which is why they signed Adrian Martinez, and they gave him a rep with the threes towards the end of the scrimmage on Saturday to get him ready for some preseason work, because I don't think Tyrod's going to play on Saturday at all. So I don't think we're going to see Jordan Travis. I mean, maybe for the last game, but he's not even like seemingly close to being cleared right now.
Yeah, I would be surprised at this point, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to see him play in the preseason, but unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like that's the direction that it's going to end up going. He has been out there with the team, not in like pads and anything, but he is out there. So I am hoping that maybe at some point he's cleared and they can get him some work in training camp or in practices here. But I would be pretty surprised if he was, cleared and then playing in one of the next 3 weeks.
Let's see. DKL Wedding says, I'm living in Florida, but we'll be back in New York for the home opener. How do you guys commute from Suffolk County? You could train it, but that's a long commute. It's long in the car, but at least you're in the car and like you're in control of where you're going. It kind of depends, man. Right? I mean, the home opener is a Thursday night, so there shouldn't be that much traffic once you get out of the parking lot and get on the road, because there's not like you're dealing with city traffic that late in the home opener, but I don't know how late the train schedule runs. I would probably recommend driving if I had to pick.
Yeah, the thing that you don't know though is that damn George Washington Bridge. I've sat there for hours and hours leaving games. The home opener against New England in 2021, my fiance was living in Queens at the time. It took us 4 hours just to get from the stadium back to Queens. So that's not even into Nassau or Suffolk. So it just really depends. I would say drive, but you just have to know in the back of your head that you could be in for a long night. That
sounds miserable. Dear God.
Yeah, I was not very happy. I was not in a good mood. Zach Wilson threw 4 picks. I was sunburned. I sat in the car for 4 hours on the way home. It was a bad day all around.
Oh my God. Dude, that was the worst home opener ever. It was just completely demoralizing. Like, we should have known that it was never going to work for Zach, but it's like, what are we going to do? Like, we had to stick through it and ride it out. Like, we couldn't give up on him after 2 games.
No, that was from the jump. He had like 2 picks in the first quarter. It was just not good.
Unreal. Let's see. Derek with a super chat. Last chance to get in with Matt or myself. Hey, fellas, thoughts on Breece Hall winning Offensive Player of the Year, even winning the MVP? A running back has not won MVP since 2012 with AP, so I doubt that will happen given the way the league is all about the quarterback. But Breece Hall winning Offensive Player of the Year is not impossible because he's going to be such a heavily utilized part of the offense. It is not the craziest future bet in the world to put some money on that.
No, not at all. I think there's a world where that could happen. If he's healthy and Rodgers is healthy, like there's a chance Breece is a 2,000 all-purpose yard player. And if that's the case, he probably has a good shot for that award. So MVP, I would say no. But Offensive Player of the Year, or if you could find a prop like the rushing yards leader or something like that, I might do a little sprinkle on that.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Matt, you have time for one more call?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, international with this one. David joins us. Hello, David.
Hey, Jake. How you doing, Matt?
What's going on,
David? I got some merch. And I'm just going to open it right now online.
Let's do a live unboxing here. David, you're in Israel, correct?
That is correct.
I love it. All right, let's see it. Here we go. We ship international, baby. Israel, Australia. Someone ordered something to Denmark the other day.
Oh, wow.
Unreal. Let's see what we got here, David. Will his internet hold up, though? A coffee mug. There we go. We can see it. Looks like it's like 1987 with the picture quality right now, but that looks like a mug.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
That's what I got. I got 2 mugs, but you don't
2 mugs. Hey.
Oh. Yeah, I got 2.
David, I appreciate it, man. It was tough to hear you with the internet being a little choppy there, but I'm thrilled that you got the mug and made it safely, man. Anytime you're shipping stuff that's fragile like a coffee mug, you get concerned.
Yeah, it's gotta be nerve wracking. It was nerve wracking packing up all my equipment and moving it in just a few miles, but I can't imagine international shipping and stuff like that.
Before you go, Matt, one thing I wanted to show you here that I want to share with the audience. I want to share my screen. Ladies and gentlemen, progress is being made at Jet practice. Here is live video moments ago, courtesy of Zach Rosenblatt of The Athletic, of Aaron Rodgers and Joe Tippmann working on shotgun snaps. So, folks, they're getting on the same page. The shotgun snap has been where the issues have been. They haven't had any issues with like just a standard under center snap.
Absolutely. I think just continue to work on it, get those yips out of the way or whatever you want to call them, and figure it out, man. They can't be having those high snaps in games.
Love it. Matt, where can people find you?
At Matt O'Leary NY on YouTube and social media. We're talking Jets daily over there. Like to keep it light, have some fun, and excited for Jets football to be back.
Can't wait. Preseason game on Saturday. Give me a player you're the most excited to see.
Ooh, you know what? We talked about him earlier, but Will McDonald. I think he's got a lot to prove in the preseason, and if he goes out and has a really big game, I would be very excited about that.
Love it. Love it. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks. Anytime. It's always a blast coming on and talking with the Asmaniacs.
There he is, the great Matt O'Leary with us here. Today's Jake Asman Show presented by my friends at Underdog Fantasy. Folks, football season is right around the corner. If you haven't signed up to be part of it with Underdog Fantasy, you're missing out. They have an awesome special right now for new customers. When you use my code ASMAN when you sign up, they're going to give you a 50% deposit match all the way up to $250. Underdog right now. Check out the Pick'em lobby. They have a ton of diverse offerings for Pick'em for the Olympic Games, including everything from basketball, handball, and much more. Week 1 picks. You have about a month left to make your NFL season-long picks, which you can make on Underdog's website and or app. Check it out. Beginning this Monday, Underdog is going to be offering an NFL Week 1 discount. So join Underdog, and you'll see all the site-wide specials that are going to be popping up in honor of football season. Now is the time. Code ASMAN. You help support me by supporting Underdog. They've been a great sponsor for a year already. Check it out. Underdog Fantasy. Play the pick'em. We got baseball tonight for the Yankees. I was with Aaron Boone last night. The season is back on. Let's go. Underdog Fantasy. Get your picks in. I recommend taking Aaron Judge higher when it comes to his walking pick'em because he walks every game because no one wants to pitch to him because everyone's afraid. Forget the Bonds treatment. It's now the Judge treatment. Underdog Fantasy, promo code ASMAN to make your picks today. All right, more calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we tried this guy earlier. His internet, his mic, it was an unmitigated disaster. But because I want to hear this intro again, we go back to B-Mac.
B-Mac. Look at my TV. B-Mac. I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets. Go Jets.
Hey, Jake, does that sound better?
A little better, B-Mac. Let's see how we do here.
All right. I'm still choppy.
Yes.
B-Mac. Hey, you hater guy. Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Your internet might be trash, B-Mac, but at least you have one of the best intros ever in the history of this show. So you have that going for you, which is nice. For those tuning in late, I'm hearing from my sources in Florham Park that the practice tomorrow for all fans is likely to be canceled due to weather. With that said, we will still have our planned meetup tomorrow night in East Hanover, New Jersey. The Jets practice against the Commanders seemingly will not be canceled due to weather on Thursday. At least I hope it won't. So I will still be attending that. However, if you planned on coming to our meetup tomorrow night, even with the Jets likely canceling practice for the fans tomorrow due to weather, just know our meetup is still going on as scheduled. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now on the Gustbuster hotline is one of our favorites. The great Keith Best is up next. Hello, Keith.
Look at what I'm wearing.
I love it.
Maniac T-shirt you sent me down.
Looks
Unfortunately,
good.
I got my tag to be able to walk around the hospital. So, but I had to have that on, otherwise security like gets you all crazy. But I finished my T-shirt, and somebody asked me this morning, well, what does that mean? What does that maniac mean? And I said, I'm a Jets fan. I'm a New Yorker. It's funny. I got Nick's email this morning saying they want to make me fan of the year. Did you see that?
So Purple Belt Mike wants to nominate you for the NFL
Purple,
Fan of the Year.
Yeah, Purple Dom. Yeah, he was the one that sent that to me, and I said, "Bring it on." You know, my memory is so good that I can bring up every damn play of every game that I was at. You know, I'm just amazed that somebody says you're an inspiration this morning to everybody around here in the hospital, and I don't know what keeps me going, man. I just keep going. I keep ticking with the time, and I'm glad that I'm able to sign on. I've been off for a couple of days. It's been a lot of sleep. I understand everything. I played somebody, my friend Roz here this morning. I played her July 1st and July 2nd podcast. The first day when you raised the 420, the second day listening to Chef Kevin, and and talking about what he has to go through to keep his wife and the trials and the tribulations, and I'm just, I identify with that 110%. I signed on a little late here this morning. I heard Matt talking about getting sunburned in Florida. I'm not sunburned. I live down here. I don't know.
To be fair, Matt and I have much fairer skin than you do, Keith.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I've lived down here for a while. Yeah, I know. And I don't go out in the sun at all. I used to when I had my boat and went fishing all the time. But I'm just extremely grateful today. I don't know if everybody else feels that way. I don't know how many people are viewing right now, but I'm extremely grateful that I have an opportunity to have another day of life. I sit around a lot of people that are faltering. I have a friend of mine. She lost her cancer 8 years ago. Had breast cancer 8 years ago, and it came back, and she didn't take care of herself. And I visited her the other day, and she said to me, she says, "Can I give you a hug?" And I said, "You're laying in a hospital bed with IVs attached to you." And she says, "No, just come over here." And she says, "You inspire me, and I'm letting you know that this is the end of it. This will be the last time we meet." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me." I was like, "Well, I'll come back, in 2 or 3 days." She's in MICU, and she's stage 4, and the doctor's already told her that she's not going to be able to come back from this. So she basically said to me, she says, "I've had a very blessed life. I'm very grateful that you're friends with me over the years, because I've been going through this a long time, and she has too. And there was a sense of value in a placement of a position in a part of your life where maybe you're having a shitty day and you don't know where life is going. And you have the inspiration to be able to push somebody else forward." I think that brings it up to a nutshell. Because there's days where, like I've said this on your show in the past, you either throw in a towel or you keep moving forward. And these practices I'm watching, I think that I'm so inspired by, I watch other people's show. I watch Boy Green in the morning. I'm not available to get on his show. I watch Matt. I listen to Buffalo, New York. But for what wraps it all up for me is right here. I told you you're the best at doing this. I'm not downgrading the other guys. Everybody's doing this right now. Everybody's got a podcast. But I appreciate the fertility that you show, and when you're out at practice, I think, what's the other guy's name, Ryan, that you were with, that puts it on his channel, that he has his camera. When he was at the game and with the practice with you last Saturday, that was amazing. Watching all those plays and all that stuff. I wish I was up there. I'd be in Florham Park, but I have to watch it on YouTube, and I'm just grateful that you're able to expel in what you do.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it, but you're an inspiration.
You're the best, man. I know my last name is Best, but you're the best.
Keith, you're the man. I'm glad you got the merch. Thanks for calling in this morning. Great call. Obviously, we're all pulling for you in your battle, Keith, but you've inspired so many of us. Hit the Keith Best emoji. That's why it's here. Also, Bang Mateo, nice super chat. Remember, every day is a gift. Love you, Keith Best. Well said, Bang. Won't send it to the hole for that one. Super chat from Jersey Jet. Martinez has the skill set similar to Ray Lucas. I actually, for whatever reason, saw him a lot in college. Adrian Martinez. He was in Nebraska for years. I don't know what he is, right? I do know he was the MVP of the UFL. So we'll see, if he could turn some heads in the preseason. If not for him, not for the Jets, maybe be on their practice squad with Jordan Travis, but for someone that's watching. I do have this from someone who watched a lot of Adrian Martinez. Sham, who is the mastermind behind the Jake Asman Show Discord channel, which you get membership access to when you join the Patreon. He watched a lot of the UFL, and he sent me this note. I followed the UFL closely. Some talking points for the show today. He won UFL MVP as well as championship MVP. He's mobile. He has 528 yards, which led the league in rushing, and he passed for 1,725 yards and 15 touchdowns, with 3 more on the ground. The big concern for him is they ran a college-style offense, shorter play calls, and basic terminology. He'll really have to learn a new offense entirely in the NFL. He also really liked passing to his tight end, Jay Sternberg. Sternberg led the team in passing yards and receiving touchdowns. So there's your scouting report on Adrian Martinez. So I would expect to play maybe the second half of the preseason game on Saturday, and Peasley plays the first half. Also, thoughts are with our guy, Jay Quest. He reached out yesterday that his dad is going through a battle right now at the hospital. And I just saw he responded to a listener in the comments that his dad is not doing great. He's on a ventilator. So send a prayer. Keep your thoughts with Jay Quest, who is one of the nicest people I've met since I've been doing the show. Incredibly funny. Calls me on the radio. Calls into this show. So everyone keep Jay Quest in your thoughts today and his family. More of your calls right now. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Thank you to 342 of you watching live. There's only 219 likes. So let's get those numbers up. Keep the super chats rolling. Channel memberships. Whoever gifts a 5-spot of channel memberships will get to see the new video I have in store, courtesy of the great Gator McCluskey, for someone who gives a membership. With that said, let's get back to your calls. Chad's on the line. Hello, Chad.
Oh, hey, Jake. Good show today. I'm a long-time watcher, first-time caller. I just wanted to get your quick take on Chuck Clark and his outlook for the season. I'm not hearing too much or reading too much in the preseason reports about him. I want to get your take on him and the backup safeties and if you have any level of concern about that.
Yeah, look, Chuck Clark to me is like an underrated aspect of this defense because he was a really good player in Baltimore, and we never saw it because he never even made it to training camp last year. He got hurt in mini camp, so it's not like fans got a taste of it like we did with Rodgers lighting it up in person, and then we lost him at the beginning of the year. He never even got to camp. So I think he's a good player. You hope he still has that same level of explosiveness coming off the ACL. He should. Like, there's no reason to think he wouldn't. He's had a good camp from what I've heard, right? Nick Faria, got to start correcting myself. Nick Faria has been raving about him. I thought he looked good in the scrimmage on Saturday, made a couple plays. So we'll see what he could do. But I think between him and Adams, I think the Jets are better at safety than people give them credit for. One, they're really well coached. And two, Adams has been a lot better this year than he's been so far. So he's still a young ascending player. And I think you combine that with the veteran savviness of Clark and Ashton Davis, who's played well this summer. It's not as bad of a safety room as some like to make it seem like it is.
Do you think he gets any significant playing time in the preseason, or do you think as a veteran we kind of just let him rest and just?
Yeah, it's a good question because obviously he's coming off the injury. I could see him playing in one of the preseason games, maybe the last one, right? Just to get him out there. He hasn't played, right? Like it's different with Rodgers because he's a quarterback, right? He might not need it. You don't want him to get hit. Maybe Chuck Clark feels like he needs it. So if he feels like he needs to play, I would play him in that last preseason game, or maybe he will play before then. I'm not sure. It's a great question. I don't know if anyone has asked Saleh that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good show.
Chad, great call, man. Great internet, great setup behind you. Call back, Chad. We need more callers like you. If you're a first-time caller, you're cutting the line. Going right to the front. We're growing this community, baby. We got a bunch of brand new listeners who have checked back in now that camp opened. My viewership has gone back to significant levels. So thank you to everyone who's new to the show. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. A big shout out to Gerald, who just purchased some merch. A coffee mug and an Asmaniac sweatshirt. Let me say this about the sweatshirts. I say it a lot. I'll keep saying it. They run a little small, so we recommend you buy a size up compared to what you normally buy. Don't say we didn't warn you. Summer drop, 9 a.m. on Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Shorts, slides, sandals, new hoodies, doggy bandana. For the 4%ers, an entire catalog of 4% female demographic themed items. Hoodies, shirts, you name it, we got it. J-Quest checks in. Thank you for all the prayers. J-Quest, we're thinking about you, man. Sorry to hear what you're going through. We're going to give this guy one more chance. And if his internet sucks, it's just not meant to be. Ladies and gentlemen, for the third time today, B-Mac.
B-Mac. Look at my TV. B-Mac. I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets. Go Jets.
All right, Jake. Is it good?
So far.
Okay, I'm gonna make it quick before it gets choppy again. Well, first of all, third time is the charm. So I guess you can say that. And then the other point is that TD was like making fun of Rodgers' injury and all that stuff. And he's old or he's no exception or getting hurt. Like, dude, like, do you forget that you got Tua, who's one of the most injury-prone quarterbacks in the league? Like last year was one luck of health, and at least this has a big sample size of being an being doable. Tua is not. I mean, there's no sample size out from last year of them doing that. So I just think it's.
There it is. So your point, if I'm following that, despite the internet issues, is Rodgers doesn't have a history of injuries where Tua does. Yeah, I think that's fair. Right? Like, obviously, Tua last year stayed healthy. But remember what the storyline was going into the season a year ago. I was guilty of this. We all were. Well, Tua can't stay healthy. Can't pick the Dolphins. Well, he stayed healthy. That doesn't mean he's going to be healthy, though, this year. It's a year-to-year league. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. This is a guy that has not missed a whole lot of time his entire career. From 2008 to 2022, Aaron Rodgers missed 16 combined games due to injury, and they all came in 2 seasons. He hasn't missed a game until last year since 2017. This guy's been incredibly durable in his career, and he plays through injuries, including his last year in Green Bay with the broken thumb and the rib injury. Some updates from practice here, and we're going to be joined by Robbie Sabo, at 4 p.m. Eastern today to get the full recap of today's practice. But I'll give you some updates on the beat. Tyron Smith, who was practicing in drills today, is not out there in team drills. So he practiced in individual drills, but not in team drills. So they're still giving Olu all those reps. Oh, but Jake, Olu's never going to play. He's playing a lot this summer to get ready for when Tyron Smith is not making it through 17 games. Proud NYJ. Nick says, at work, just found out I could add chair model to the resume. That was an all-timer by We the People. More updates from practice. Jamin Sherwood Ran stride for stride with Lazard on a deep route. Impressive. Bad news. It was an overthrow by Rodgers, and Lazard didn't have much separation. Sherwood's had a great camp. He's been awesome. Here's another breakdown on that play from Zach Rosenblatt. Rodgers tried going deep for Lazard, covered by Sherwood. Lazard slowed up, though, and couldn't get to the ball, which was thrown to the right spot. I'm sure Aaron will have something to say to that to his buddy Lazard. AVT jumps off sides, quickly replaced. Good. I like that they pull on a guy immediately. Nick Faria tweeted, Olu Fashanu and the rest of the O-line opened up massive hole for Breece Hall. Wasn't touched. He was 20 yards down the field. Sign me up. Sign me up. More updates from practice. Michael Carter just walked onto the field in shorts, working on the bike now. That's a good sign if he's out there watching the practice. It means he's getting closer to coming back. We'll keep you up to date on updates from practice. I got open phone lines if anyone wants in on the conversation. The Gustbuster hotline link is pinned in the chat. K-Brock says, TD is the biggest moron in sports talk. He seems like a good guy, right? I'm friends with Richie. Richie's friends with TD. They have their roundtable sports business together. I'll be with TD down in Miami this year to watch the Jets steamroll his team. He seems like a good guy, right? But I will say, even though he always bashes the Jets, let's not forget what his true feelings were about the Jets. Right after the NFL draft, when reality hit TD, the New York Jets are the best team in the AFC East.
Dolphin fans, are you really feeling like this team can compete with the Jets this year? Our only hope with the Jets is hoping Aaron Rodgers is for some reason done lost it. The Jets are loaded. They don't have a single hole on the entire roster now. A single hole. They're just like, hey, we having fun. We getting depth for the future. Like, they're building for the future with a roster that's complete, with no hole. And they already got a little depth. Y'all the future. Y'all just going to have to sit back and chill.
That's how he felt. Now all of a sudden, the hopium is coming on, so we got to bash the Jets. Okay. We'll see you on the field. We will see you on the field. Franco says ABT needs to stop with these false starts. I mean, to be fair, Franco, he's back at guard. He's coming off injury. He's learning how to play in this offense with Rodgers, with a new cadence. I'm not worried about ABT, right? Let him get the reps in practice. He'll be fine. Penalties are going to happen. You want to correct it and make sure it doesn't happen in games that count. Rourke Strip says, keep politics off this channel. This is football, Jets, and that's it. I want to make it very clear because I've seen people write this in the chat. I have no control over what political ads are shown to you as the viewer. I have zero control over that. Whether it's Democrat or Republican, I have no say in that. That's it. So if you don't want YouTube ads, I recommend YouTube Premium. I pay for it every month. It's great. You just go video to video. If you're on YouTube all the time, like many of you are because you watch this show and we have long shows, that is the move. So YouTube controls the ads that come up in the show or before the show. The ads I control are like Underdog or Circa. You guys know my sponsors. More calls right now. Rob the Jet fan is up next. What's up, Rob?
Hey, Jake. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Rob.
Quick shout out to Keith Best. I mean, just breaks my heart when he tells those stories. You know, a lot of love to him. I hope he gets 100% better. We're all pulling for him. He's a great guy. Also, Jay Quest's dad, we're praying for you, buddy. We're praying for you. Us as maniacs, we're family here. So, you know, we're looking out for each other. But I don't think you're going to be happy for the next thing I say, Jake. But starting to get to the point with Reddick. I'm starting to get really tired of waiting for this guy to sign. And I know he's a far better player than Huff, or I should say considerably better. And he's probably better against the run. But, it just makes me scratch my head that Huff could have got signed for $17 million a year, which is affordable for the Jets if they move around. A couple of people take some, they stretch out their money and stuff. But we would have had him for $17 million. He's 3-4 years younger, and we wouldn't be sitting there waiting for Reddick to arrive in camp. It's starting to get to the point that it's getting really annoying. I know that I'm probably going to eat my words later, and Reddick's going to win games for us once he gets signed. But right now, it's getting really frustrating. It's really starting to bug me. I don't know about you, but you seem to have a little more patience for it. But it's really bothering me, Jake, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying. It's not a good look for the Jets or Reddick, but it's still just August 6th. There's still 5 weeks till the opener, so it's not great. But it's I can't kill the Jets and bash them until we get a lot closer and have more of an idea on where this is going. It's not a good look. You want to criticize them up until this point, how we got here, fine. But I'm also not going to be, I'm not going to be fake with you guys and scream and yell when I don't believe it. Because I think at the end of the day, he's going to sign. He's going to help the team win a lot of games. He's a really good player.
You're right. And I want to eat my words. I want him to get signed with enough time to get into camp, get ready to go, make a huge impact, win games for us, because he's very, very capable of wreaking havoc. I saw that game against the 49ers and what he did to Purdy. Oh, my God. So I hear what you're saying, and I want to eat my words. It's just that the closer we get, the more I start thinking of, wow, we could have had Huff for $17 million, and he's affordable considering Reddick is 15, and it's not going to stop at 15. Minimum, we're going to have to up it to at least 20 million, if not better, with guarantees and incentives to get him into camp. And then I just wanted to say one other thing, Jake. I know this sounds a little crazy, and originally when I saw the schedule for the 49ers, I said, oh, that's a loss. No way beating the 49ers. But now the more I think about it, Jake, and seeing Aaron Rodgers in camp and the way he's running things.
Oh, you brought back in? They're winning week 1?
I'm telling you, Jake, I mean, if we get the 49ers cold, and they're not in perfect rhythm, and we are, for whatever reason we are, I mean, it's a possibility. We can go into.
Of course it is.
Of course
it is. They beat the Bills last year.
I was not thinking that way in the beginning.
Rob, they beat the Bills last year with Zach Wilson at quarterback, and they were down 10 at halftime.
With all due respect, this is the 49ers.
I mean, the Niners are really, really good. It's also week 1 where crazy things happen,
right.
And they might not have Brandon Aiyuk, and Trent Williams is holding out right now. And I don't know, talent-wise, I think the Jets are right there with the Niners. Are the Niners better? Yeah, the Niners are favored in the game, and they should be. Yeah, but
no, you're right. You're right. If we get them cold, Jake, I'm starting to think. I don't know. It's running through my mind. I'm saying, you know what? We get them cold. They're in the same predicament, other than home field advantage. I know that means something in football, but if we get them cold and Purdy's timing is off, we disrupt them with our pass defense. Hopefully, Reddick is there, of course. I mean, anything's possible. We could sneak out a win. I'm starting to believe. I'm starting to believe that we have a shot to win this game. I'm starting to believe. I hope so, buddy.
I love it, Rob. I love it. Inject it into my veins. Thank you. Win week 1. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. We're not the scrappy underdogs anymore. All right. They can absolutely win week 1. It's not an automatic loss. My point is, if they lose, we're not doing the season is over with 16 games to go, and then Will Levis, Drake May, Jared Stidham, Bo Nix, or Zach Wilson, and then J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold on the schedule after that. This team's 4-1 going into the Bills game. That's the expectation. I don't need the 49ers to be cold, Rob. All right? I don't need their nips to be all hard on Monday Night Football. I just need the Jets to go out there and smash them because the Jets are just as good as the Niners. On that night, they got as good a chance as anyone. They could beat them. Are the Niners going to be picked by most? Sure. Are the Niners going to be probably about a 5 or 6 point favorite? Yeah. I'll tell you what, Rob. I don't need the Niners' nips to be cold. All right? The weather could be steamy. I think the Jets have a great chance to win. Speaking of steamy, it's getting chippy at practice. Offense and defense have gone at it a few times. Garrett Wilson and DJ Reed getting into it after an incomplete pass. Jets are ready to hit another team. This is usually around that time, about 2 weeks into camp now. You're hitting the same guys over and over again. That's what we need right now. All right. David Hall says we're winning our first 6 games. If the Jets are 6-0, I don't even know what I would do with myself. Oh, my God. 6-0. Rich wants 13 wins for the first time in franchise history. 13-4? They could go 13-4. They also very easily could go 10-7. But the bare minimum for me is 10 wins, making the playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally happened. Jesus Jerry has made it rain. A 5 spot of channel memberships are raining down for the Asmaniacs.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Austin Davido, Joe the Jet, NY Jet superfan, Chiefs fan, New Jet City, all receiving Asmaniac memberships. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We're seeking more memberships. They're the lifeline of the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. Jesus, Jerry, you're the man. Appreciate that. Gerald writes in, Jets are going to beat the Niners week 1. Super Bowl hangover is real, and it resides in San Francisco. F. Brock Purdy. Finally. Yes, the season is far from over if week 1 goes bad. As much as we all want to win week 1, just know we're not doing doom and gloom on the postgame show if they lose. There's 16 games after that. The Chiefs lost week 1 last year. They won the Super Bowl. Just so everyone remembers. All right. This team is good. It'll be all right. Bang Mateo writes in, the 49ers DC will have sleepless nights trying to diagram up game plan to stop Ruckert. Does anyone hate Jeremy Ruckert more than Bang Mateo? Did Ruckert sleep with your girl or something, Bang? Or your mom? Did he Zach Wilson your mom? Like, what happened here, dude? Your name is Bang Mateo. It's, I'm asking some questions. All right. How do you dislike or hate even Ruckert the way you do? I don't get it. We'll see you in 5.
I'm glad to be in Asman Shadow Realm.
Into the Shadow Realm you go.
Aaron Rodgers is a glutton for fame. I don't think he loves his teammates. I think he loves attention.
GFY. First word is go and the last word is yourself.
Boom. Man, I will say, the comment funny, but still stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Campbell checks in. He tried to send a super chat, but he's new to the show, so he's still learning. Scott, I got you, man. Appreciate your support. I'm glad you're a new sub. Thank you so much. What do you think about Cole Laveo? In the UFL, he didn't let up a sack in 2 seasons there. He seems to keep climbing the roster. He's also becoming a coach favorite. To be honest, Scott, I haven't heard much about him. I don't know if he's necessarily climbing the roster. I mean, I think for someone like him, the preseason is going to be huge. He's going to play in every game. We'll see how he looks in the preseason. It's tough to evaluate offensive linemen when I'm not there every day. And also, they're not hitting each other every day. First Day Jet says, Scott Campbell, Tippmann the super chat, 30 feet over Jake's head. Tippmann's my guy. You lay off Tippmann. Jamal says, realistically, we could go 5-0. Look at the opposing quarterbacks. I mean, look, it depends how you feel about Brock Purdy, and then if Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, his first game back. Like, he might be a little rusty, guys. He might not be the MVP player that many of you think we're getting this year right away. Can he be very good and they rely on Breece Hall that night? They should, right? Breece should be the best player on the field on offense for the Jets in week 1. I think asking Rodgers to do that in his first game back off a serious injury is maybe not fair to him. Could he do it? Yeah, he's Aaron Rodgers. But, you know, let's remember, Brady lost his first game in Tampa. Like, it's week 1. But, yeah, you could argue, if you think Rodgers is better than Purdy, NFL execs voted on it. They had Rodgers 8. Purdy wasn't in the top 10. The Jets have a quarterback advantage in their first 5 games. And then you could say you want to give it to Allen against the Jets in the Monday night game in week 6. Okay. Maybe over the totality of the season, Allen puts up better numbers. But all I know is the last 2 times the Jets defense has faced Josh Allen at MetLife, they made him look bad. So I feel good. Dano says, thoughts on the House of the Dragon finale? The season finale was terrible. Terrible. Nothing happened. I don't want to spoil it. I know people maybe haven't all watched it yet. It reminded me on everything I disliked about Game of Thrones the last season and how that ended. Because the first season of House of the Dragon was excellent. And this year, you wait 2 years for it to come back. And that's what you're giving us in a season finale? Are you kidding me? Now I got to wait 2 more years for season 3? Are you nuts? Also, another show I watched on Apple, the Jake Gyllenhaal show, Presumed Innocent. Really good first season. I think there's a season 2. I don't know if Jake Gyllenhaal is in it. But the season finale for that wasn't any good either. They try to come up with this big twist so you can't guess what's happening. And they just went so far with the twist. It's like they didn't give you the pieces to the puzzle. Like, it's one of those like murder mystery shows. Like, there's a trial going on. You're trying to figure out who the killer is. And I don't want to spoil it, but you know, sometimes these TV shows try to be too smart. Just play the hits, man. And radio, you're taught that. Wonder why the Jets are always talked about on TV, or the Cowboys or LeBron? Because those get ratings. Play the hits. Sometimes TV needs to take a page, or TV shows need to take a page from like sports talk radio and TV. Hawk says, imagine watching House of the Dragon. You mean one of the most popular shows in the history of TV? Go touch grass. Well, Hawk, I'll tell you what you're going to be doing right now. You won't be touching grass.
Now look what you've done. Hawk, no more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Go play with the Sodomites, Hawk. How's that going to go for you? Hojo says, someone gave me another membership. Thanks. Hojo, congrats. Also, Jagers, I apologize. I just saw your super chat. Any update on our boy Bobby? I got an update from Nick Shine. Bobby's still in the hospital getting treatment. So hopefully I'll have an update this afternoon for everyone in the Discord. But those who missed it yesterday, Bobby is back at the doctor. They're doing more tests on his leg. He's dealing with that wound injury. So everyone send your well wishes to Bobby Midnight. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. This is already a long show, but I'll stay on. Our next show will be at 4 to recap today's practice. Joining us right now, is someone who needs no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Purple Belt Mike. Hello, Mike.
Yeah, that was quick. I missed the whole show. I got on right when there was slander about House of the Dragon, which the second season pales in comparison to the first season. First season was awesome, and I didn't really like what they did with the second season. There's a lot of things they could have did that they didn't do, and the way they ended it pissed me off.
Yeah, nothing happened. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but it was a very disappointing season finale.
I mean, the whole season was disappointing, in my opinion. There could have been a lot of things they could have did that they didn't do. So hopefully, it builds for season 3. I don't know. But I'm a big fan. For someone to say, and I think as I was logging in, Hawk was talking trash about it. There's going to be trash talked about you, Hawk, because you suck. How about that?
Got him.
Are the Jets training, practicing today, or is it an off day?
They're on the field right now.
Anything good happen?
I would say nothing of that much note. Xavier Gibson's back, so that's good.
I want your comments about this earlier. Dave said that Will McDonald has been terrible in camp. And I want your opinion on that, because I didn't think that's what it was, but maybe he is. I don't know. But that's what he said.
No, I don't think that's true at all. I mean, I just saw a tweet about the Will McDonald having another sack. He had a sack yesterday on Rodgers. Let's see. There was let me find the tweet. There was a tweet about McDonald making a play from one of the beat reporters there. Let's see if I can find it. I can't find it, but Will McDonald made a couple plays today. I saw.
All right, so maybe you should text Dave and tell him to get his head out of his ass with his Jet hate for no reason. I wish I could have called in today, but something came up, so I had to work, do stuff. But I'll try tomorrow. But when he said that, I'm like, maybe I'm the crazy one, because I thought he was having a good camp.
Has McDonald been great? No, but I would say over the last couple of practices, we're starting to hear more about him making plays. So he's trending upward.
That's good to hear.
But we need more. I mean, he's got to take a big step. He's going to play a much bigger role this year.
He's got to be at least Bryce Huff. If he's not at least that, then there's probably going to be issues.
Mike, appreciate it. Here's what I would say. Maybe eventually he gets to Bryce Huff, but Bryce Huff was an ascending player each year. He got better and eventually became a guy that another team paid the bag. You hope McDonald could take a step. He doesn't need to be Jermaine Johnson from year 1 to year 2. And Jermaine talked about that yesterday when he was asked about, Will's got to make sure he doesn't listen to the JJ year 2 leap. Like, just he knows his time is coming. He's teaching me things. I'm teaching him. He's going to be a good player. McDonald could play the Bryce Huff role. And if he can help you close out some games with some big pass rushing opportunities, that's what he's here for. Shout out to David Aaron, who called in earlier from Israel, showing off the Jake Asman Show coffee mug he ordered from the merch store. He writes, and I'm feeling a sense of calm, taking my first swing from the coffee mug. New insights and deep Jet takes. Can't wait for the hats and shirts to show up too. That's my one complaint about the merch store. All the items are made from various areas in the country, so they don't ship necessarily all together. So sometimes, like, you'll get like a koozie and a mug, and then you won't get your hoodie till a day after, or vice versa, for example. But it will all be there. Don't worry. Tab 12 says, Jake, get the steak chimichanga at Don Jose tomorrow night. It's fantastic there. Thank you, Tab. For those tuning in late, despite the practice for fans tomorrow likely to be canceled, I'm hearing from my sources. In fact, I've heard that it's like already a done deal. It will be canceled, but I'll wait for the Jets to officially announce it. We will still have our meetup tomorrow night in East Hanover, Richie and myself. And then I'll be there Thursday, hopefully weather permitting, for the joint practice that's open for fans against the Commanders. Carly writes in, who's excited for T Squared? We went last night and it was sick. Big thank you to T Squared Social. They invited us out to the Talkin' Yanks Aaron Boone event they did last night. Boone's a weekly on the Talkin' Yanks podcast with John Boy and Jake. So they did a Aaron Boone podcast live at T Squared. So T Squared was nice enough to have us check out the venue. I've been there before, but good to see what it looks like when they're doing an event. Our event's different. It's a watch party versus a live podcast taping. But the venue is sick. and it's going to be so much fun. One of the things I got to mention is that they have a basketball hoop for people to play on, and darts, ping pong, pool table, and simulators for golf, football, baseball, basketball, you name it, they have it. But unfortunately, yesterday I learned something about my director of merch store operations. She has an uncanny resemblance to the former quarterback of the New York Jets, Zach Wilson.
Wait, you can't post it unless I do a good one.
Okay, Zach Wilson. Okay, Zach Wilson. Back to back. You really are, Zach.
My receivers are not helping at all.
Just tough, man. I was getting like just terrible memories. Honestly, like I was reliving the Jaguar game again. I was reliving the first Patriot game last year again. The second Bills game.
He stinks.
It was tough. It really was. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, there is some redeeming quality about our merch store director. Football might not be her sport, but apparently hockey is.
Whoa!
The Matt Barzell of the Jake Asman chat. So if you want to come to T-Square to play any of their simulators, make sure you RSVP. I announced it yesterday, posted it on Twitter, posted it on the YouTube community post for those who saw it before the show. One of the raffles we will have at T-Square the night of the watch party will be a signed Garrett Wilson football. So thanks to my friends at ESPN New York, rocking the T-shirt for them today. My employer, we have a signed Garrett Wilson football we're going to be raffling away. So that's going to be awesome. So RSVP if you're coming. It's a free event. Party starts at 6:30. The game's at 7. Jets, Panthers. It's going to be a blast, folks. T-Squared is incredible. I promise you. It's a great venue. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue right now with more of your calls before we wrap.
The only thing better than Alden shoes is Joey D, cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Jake, my brother.
Bonesy.
What's up, buddy? Want to say, shout out to Bobby. We're thinking about you, buddy. I called him this morning. Then his doctor walked in as we were on the phone, so I'll hear back from him. Man, shout out to Jay Quest, man. We're praying for your pops, man. Jay Quest has done so much for me in this little time that we've known each other. He picked me up for the Asmaniac event. He got me the free ride on the train. He got me the tickets on Saturday. Jay Quest, I love you, brother. Prayers to your pops, man, and your family. Joey, my brother Joe Bones, he just said we got Dame back on the team, Team Black all day. I'm personally, I don't watch. I gave Game of Thrones a chance. It wasn't my cup of tea. Don't put me in the cell with Hawk. That shit was funny. Hawk's always making me laugh. And I can't get enough of watching our young players on the mic. I mean, Sauce on Good Morning Football, he killed it, man. He's just a man. Then you even listen to our rookies this year. I listened to the press conference with Olu and Braylon Allen and Stiggers, and these guys got a good head on their shoulders. Everyone says the right stuff. You could just tell, it's something that we really value, and it's warranted, man. You could tell these guys are all in about football, and just listening to Olu talk about, they were asking him some tough questions. Rich asked him tough questions about how you feel coming in and not being the starter and stuff, and he just hit him. He's just knocking him down, man. I just love these guys. Even even Stiggers, the 6th-round pick, you can just tell he's just got the right stuff.
Yeah. They're all likable, man. They all are. Stiggers is awesome. I love when he goes up to the podium. Quantez Stiggers reporting for duty.
Yeah, he's got a little personality to him, man. And Braylon's big ass, man. I don't know. I'm all in. I can't wait. I can't wait for these combined practices and JETS, Jake. I'm just so excited over here, bro.
Bonesy, you should go over to T squared, man. You're a quarterback for the Asmaniac team. You got to warm up the arm.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to play that game. I just saw that. Like, I am gonna kill that shit. And just for the record, not trying to brag, it was a little luck. But when I first got to training camp and I went into the kids zone, they had the quarterback thing. It took one throw and I got it in. But it was a little lucky. But look at that.
I decided to put the back-to-back picks on a loop just so we can break it down. We'll have Fialco on for expert analysis. I just not reading the defense here. I mean, clearly you're throwing it right to a defender there. Just not letting the route develop either. I mean, this is Zach Wilson to a T. Just not, maybe the physical attributes might be there, but like, look at this. Just not going through the progression at all. Just chucking it. I felt like I was reliving the last 2 years.
Carly Wilson.
It's unbelievable. That's her new name.
Oh, Carly, she's a good sport.
I mean, just unbelievable. All right, Bonesy, you're the man.
All right, man. I'll call you tomorrow.
Ladies, have the great Mr. Bonesy. All right, we're gonna wrap up here shortly, but I see we got another caller on hold. Let's go to Franco before we wind down. What's up, Franco?
What's up, man? Hey, I know earlier we talked about the 49ers and week one. I feel real confident about week one. And the reason why, I wrote down a list of things of why. First off, we mentioned it earlier, 49ers have a new defensive coordinator, Nick Sorensen. He doesn't have any experience as a defensive coordinator. He was an ex-player. I just don't see him being able to stop Rodgers and what he's able to do. Plus, there's no tape on Rodgers. The Jets didn't see there was not even 4 plays into the year. The 49ers don't have any tape on Aaron Rodgers.
There could be rust, though, Franco. Like, I don't disagree with some of your points. I'm just, he hasn't played football. Like, how's he going to react to getting hit? Is he going to be a little jittery? Like, even on the play he got hurt last year, he'd admit it. He's like, I don't know what I was thinking. I just should have thrown it to Garrett. Like, I didn't go through the read the way I wanted. Like, he got hurt on a play where Garrett was open. He eventually would have gotten hurt on a different play. I'm not saying that's why he got, season-ending injury with the Achilles, but I'm just saying I don't think it's as easy as, well, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be great right away. Like, there could be an adjust. He will be good. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good quarterback. I think he's going to be awesome. But I don't know if it's going to be like from day one he's Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not. I don't disagree. I'm just saying that we might have a chance to win this game. I don't think we're that much of an underdog as we were mentioning. Also, there's injuries on 49ers. There's no Drew Greenlaw, who's one of the best linebackers in the league.
He got hurt in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Talunu Hafuanga, the safety, he's out with ACL. Brandon Aiyuk might be on his way out. Trent Williams hasn't reported. The offensive line that they currently have is on the decline, especially if they have no Trent Williams. A-Rod's record on week one is 11-5, and his Monday night stats is 13-5, so he has a winning percentage. I just see.
I thought he's never lost on Monday Night Football. Wasn't it the stat?
I don't know if I saw that.
That was the stat last year we gave him. I thought.
I looked.
By the way, he's undefeated as a Jet. He has the highest winning percentage in the history of the franchise. He's undefeated.
Yep. Otherwise, I feel pretty confident. If we lose, we lose. Not the worst case, like I said, but I think we do have a big chance. And I think Rodgers, he might come out rusty, but I think this team's good. This team's really good.
Dano says 13-5 in primetime, possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you were referring to. I think he's 9-0 on Monday Night Football.
So 13-5 in primetime, 9-0. Oh, that's even better. I'll take that.
I'll look it up for you, Franco. I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Good call. Great hat by Franco, too. Love that new logo on black. Tremendous. And, folks, we have added the Asmaniac T-shirt and green lettering in the store. It wasn't in there previously. It is now in the store. So for those who have asked, jakeasman.com. We're working on some new merch ideas. The Lane Train teddy bear, the Gary's wife coffee mug, the Bobby Midnight snapback, the Bobby orange chair crew neck. Just saying. Big things coming. But on Friday, this is confirmed. The summer drop. Shorts. Flip-flops. Slides. New hoodies. And an entire line dedicated to the 4% female demographic that supports the show. Hopefully, it's a lot higher than 4 by the end of the season. Hey, we're 5 likes away from 300, according to Rich. Thank you for monitoring that, Rich. Hit the like button. There's still 341 of you watching right now. Incredible. I'm going to check Twitter one more time, see if there's any updates from practice I want to hit on. Before we wrap, we come back in 4 hours with an eyewitness account from Bob Sabo breaking down what occurred today. Ashton Davis and Chris Glazer are leaving the field for undisclosed reasons. I wonder if they got into the brawl and they're being thrown out of practice for it. I mean, I'm seeing Connor Hughes tweets come up on my timeline because he's at Giants camp today. The Giants and Lions have had like 3 or 4 fights in their practice today, and they had some yesterday too. So get ready. You want joint practices? You're going to have fights on Thursday when the Jets and Commies play. Play of the day, according to Dennis Wazak. Hamza El Zayat hauls deep pass from Adrian Martinez over his shoulder for long gain. Fired up offense, runs down to celebrate El Zayat's catch. This kid's going to be fun to watch in the preseason. He made the play of the day in the scrimmage on Saturday. He was the slot guy filling in for Gibson. This kid's 5'8", UDFA from Eastern Michigan, from Saleh's hometown. This kid's made plays. Let's hope he's the next Danny Woodhead. Tom writes in, need Yankees and Knicks and Yankees colored Asmaniac gear next. Great point. Good work on that for you, Tom. Great point. Let's see. Orb says I'm hammering Jets plus 200 in that game. So you like the Jets on the money line plus 200. It's not a bad bet. I would say this. If you think the Jets are going to win Monday, don't take the points. Just bet them on the money line. You know? I happen to think right now if I were making a pick, I'd probably pick the Niners in a close game. But I can be convinced by September 9th to change my mind. And I probably will be. I just want to see how healthy the Jets are and Mike Williams is playing and is Aiyuk actually traded. I'm not going to make my pick yet. But if you think the Jets are going to win, the strategy is not to take the points. You bet them on the money line, better value, if you think they're going to win. Orb says, Jake, you should do a Knicks show in the fall/winter. So I do stuff for Knicks Fan TV. My schedule this past year just didn't allow to do as much Knicks content as I wanted. Now that I'm back in New York, the plan is to do more. So be tuned for that. And I work for ESPN New York. We're the home of the Knicks. So I definitely will be at a ton of Knicks games this season. Speaking of the Knicks game, I told you earlier, ESPN New York is one of our sponsors for the T-Squared Watch Party. They're going to send their promo team, giving out T-shirts like this, koozies, bottle openers, bunch of swag. Also, a signed Garrett Wilson football will be raffled off that night, thanks to ESPN New York. The same Garrett Wilson that I know very well. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. David wants to know, is Mad Dog betting on the game? Well, we know he has 10 G's on the Jets win total over of 9.5. Is he betting week 1? I don't know. Tell you what, if the Jets win week 1, there's going to be a lot of people who regret not betting the over on 9.5. Also, Tippmann, I saw left practice, then came back in because he suffered some sort of injury. But he's fine. Tweet from Nick Faria. Jets O-line has looked really good run blocking today. Next tweet. Will McDonald just beat Morgan Moses and would have had a sack. Excellent use of his speed. There's your Will McDonald update, people. He's getting better. Tom Ace writes in, public practice tomorrow is now postponed to August 2nd. Is that confirmed? Let's get it confirmed. Yep, Tom, you're 100% right. Due to inclement weather in the forecast for Wednesday, August 7th, public practice has been postponed. Tickets for tomorrow's public practice will be honored on Tuesday, August 20th. Your ticket will automatically update on your account, and no further action is needed at this time. We apologize for any inconvenience and look forward to seeing you on August 20th at the Jets Training Center. All right, so Jets have confirmed it. I told you guys at the top of the show I was hearing that it was already canceled. In fact, I knew it was canceled, but it wasn't my place to say it, so I said I'm hearing it's very, very likely it was getting canceled. So want to make it clear. For those of you who planned on coming to our meetup tomorrow night, that is still going on as planned. Meetup tomorrow night. I'll be at the joint practice against the Commies on Thursday. So I look forward to that. All right, so I'm glad we got that in before the end of the show here. So meetup still on for tomorrow. If you RSVP'd, we are still rocking and rolling. All right. Can't wait. Hopefully Thursday will happen. Because I know it's supposed to rain Thursday too. One last check of social media. This one's from Robbie. We're going to hit on this with him later when he joins the show. Based on what I've seen from Jordan Travis this summer, I would be surprised if he dresses in any game this year unless one of the top two go down, the way he's walking, moving, etc. Yeah, I mean, he's a project. I think the hope was he'd be able to play at some point this summer. Doesn't seem like it. Rodgers to Wilson, deep catch on third down. Must be a day that ends in a Y, says Faria. Love it. Love it. All right. I'm sorry to those who had tickets for tomorrow. But if you can make the meetup, it's still going on. Tomorrow night. Hit the like button before we get out of here. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in. We're back in about 4 hours, not even, with Bob Sabo, who's at training camp right now, breaking everything down. Thanks again to everyone for your support. Thanks to Matt O'Leary, who joined us for the first hour of today's show. Go rewind, Jet fans, if you tuned in late. Reminder, merch store drop. Friday, 9 a.m. Get your merch now. Patreon members, guess what? 15% off on everything in the entire store. Thanks for your support on Patreon. I will talk to you guys later. Ladies and gentlemen, Jets. Jets. Let's go, baby.
All right, more calls right now. Scott is on the Gustbuster umbrella hotline. Hello, Scott.
Hey, what's up, brother? I'm at a park right now, and I want to ask people if there are any Jet fans out here. But
are you in New York?
Yeah, it's in Saratoga Springs, which is like about 30 minutes north of Albany. You go right down the highway, easy drive. But yeah, it's really nice here. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we have a Jet fan. Hey, come back here. Are you a Jet fan?
Oh my God.
No, you are Affleck. Say, and maybe you are. I guess not. Probably not. Hey, who this follows Bobby Midnight? This is Jet talk here. Hey, I'll probably get in trouble, So yeah, send Alan to the hole. Get that clown in there. And you know what? Put him.
Oh, we lost Scott. Man. I don't know what to say.
On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college.